Hi, I'm Teré Foster. I would like to introduce to you Food for Well-Being from my Whole Foods kitchen. When we started to create the plan for Food for Well-Being, we started with the 7 questions of well-being. We wanted to be able to answer yes to all 7 of these significant questions. The final result was what we call Food for Well-Being. In this workshop, you will learn how to make complete plant protein for every meal. The workshop is based around our Whole Foods packets and our recipe packets to help to eliminate as many steps for you as possible when you want to cook from scratch. The recipe packets will transform Whole Foods into something you look forward to, and it'll never be more than 200 or 300 calories per meal. We separated the packets into 2 boxes, one for dinner and one for all the rest. We were able to answer yes to all 7 questions. So we'll start with personal well-being, body, mind, and spirit. Is it healthy? Is it intelligent? Is it empowering? These 3 questions lead to personal well-being, and we believe that personal well-being leads to global well-being. So as we started creating the plan for Food for Well-Being, our first and obvious question to answer is it healthy? Food for Well-Being is a packet of whole foods with powdered whole foods and spices, which are whole foods. Nothing else added, and they're pre-measured but not processed in any way. A nutrient-rich diet based around plant protein helps find a healthy weight, helps reverse heart disease, helps heal diabetes, helps to slow aging, even helps to lift depression. One of the biggest health concerns is that when you change to whole foods, you might not be getting enough protein. But plant protein has been proven to be healthier than animal protein in the long run. Of course, we want to make sure that it is an intelligent plan using the best possible parameters to guide our menu. The plan has to be the cheapest possible, the most delicious possible, and the healthiest possible. It has to store in the smallest amount of space with the lightest weight without causing any harm to the environment, to animals, or to our fellow man. Does that sound like we're making too big a deal out of a meal plan? Not when you realize that your food purchases impact all 7 levels of well-being. Can today's food system answer yes to any of these questions? I don't think so. Do you? If we truly do want to help protect the environment, help protect animals, and help to solve world hunger, we have to make a new plan. We started the plan by assigning an ethnic cuisine to each day of the week, and we rotate these every week. We wanted a variety so that if we stuck to the same plan week after week, we would always look forward to those meals. Each menu starts with our packets for plant protein, then provides recipe options for fresh fruit and vegetables, whole grain breads, veggie meat options, and soup to round out the meal. However, when you're in a hurry, our plant protein side dishes can easily be the entire meal because they provide the nutrition you need and are also very filling. Our recipe packets help to make cooking with whole foods foolproof. The Whole Foods packets are for people who like to cook from scratch. One packet makes 1 quart of whole foods when it's fully cooked. 4 servings, 1 cup each. In this plan, we soak all the beans at the same time, and we bring whole foods to life by soaking them in water where they triple in size and weight. We then cook them all in the same pot at the same time with the same amount of fuel or gas or electricity, depending on what kind of stove you have, and all your meals for the week are ready to serve. We combine rice and beans to create complete plant protein. If you're used to cooking 1 meal at a time, the quickest way to use our food packets is to cook the rice in the smallest rice cooker and the beans in the smallest pressure cooker and cook them both at the same time. Then store the leftovers in jars to take for lunch. If the food is hot, the jars will seal as the food cools. A sealed jar will stay fresh in the refrigerator for weeks. The whole plan is written here in the cookbook. Download your digital copy or order a coil-bound copy and start the Food for Well-Being plan today. The dinner recipes open to a 2-page spread to resemble a menu for each ethnic cuisine. Then it includes a chapter each for breakfast recipes, snacks, and desserts, with the same high-quality nutrition of whole foods. So yes, the plan is intelligent. It's based on current and well-researched information. It touches on all 7 levels of well-being, and it equips you to decentralize the power of the food industry. We do that by becoming the producer instead of the consumer. Many levels of well-being can be restored when we avoid playing the role of the consumer, but instead reclaim the role of the producer. This plan empowers us to do just that. Times have changed. America was once a strong nation, built on families that owned land and were able to sustain themselves from their own land. Now, pastures and farms have been replaced by factory farms. The producer was transformed into the consumer or the workforce, and we no longer own land and are no longer self-sustaining. We have completely become dependent upon the food supply chains who have systematically destroyed the planet and who kill millions of animals every day and tell us we have to eat them in order to be healthy. When you cook from scratch, you are empowered to say no to chemical sprays, to say no to GMO, to say no to factory farms. Every time we play the role of the consumer, it comes in a package that ends up in our landfills. Now, instead of being self-sustaining producers who grow and produce their own food, the only thing we produce is about 5 pounds of trash a day. This is obviously not a plan that can continue forever. What can we do to solve this problem? We must relearn how to be the producer instead of the consumer. So yes, the plan is empowering because we empower people to reclaim the role of the producer with books, recipes, classes, videos, and food products to support that goal. We believe we can heal the world just by cooking dinner tonight from scratch, from whole foods, purchased from a different source. Food for Well-Being is packaged in biodegradable and compostable bags, nothing to add to our landfills. So yes, it is healthy, it is intelligent, and it is empowering. The next level is family well-being. Families are the building blocks of a community, and therefore the building blocks of all humanity. Studies show that families that eat around the table are less likely to have eating disorders. They'll eat better and less likely to eat junk food. So when reaching for well-being for your family, one meal around the table every day is very important. Food for Well-Being is designed to help the family become producers who cook from scratch. The meat eater would consider Food for Well-Being to be side dishes, but the vegan-vegetarian would consider them to be their source of protein. More often than not, meals are set up for the meat eater, and the side dishes are often mixed with gluten products such as pasta. There's pork in the beans and eggs in the potato salad, and no raw fresh foods for the raw foodist. With so many dietary needs and preferences, it's time to unify the family by making a plan that takes care of everyone. Food for Well-Being cookbook and meal plan make sure that everyone can eat around the same table. The next level of well-being is the environment. Is it sustainable over the long run? Does it do any harm to the environment? The only way to make sure of that is to make sure that it is from organic sources. One of the biggest problems with organic produce is the waste. At times, it costs less to dump it than to give it away, and farmers take a loss. There is such a short window of time to get this produce to market. So we found a company, Just One Organics, that decided to get involved. Just One Organics quickly picks up the organic produce that would have gone to waste, pays the farmer so that he doesn't take a loss, turns it into crystals that have a long shelf life through a gentle drying process without adding any other ingredients. And we support all of these projects by adding these crystals to our food packets. When our veterans come home from the battlefield, the Farmer Veteran Coalition and ground operations and other organizations like these greet them with opportunities for a new life. They offer training to become the producers to help provide a smooth transition back into the community. We have a commitment to contact veterans first when searching for our organic ingredients to support their efforts and to add one more important level of well-being. This is why we are confident to answer yes to the question, is it sustainable? By supporting organic farmers, we avoid supporting farming practices that destroy the earth for future generations. The question, is it humane, is probably the hardest question of all to answer without hesitation, because we are only now becoming aware of the unfair trade practices that our food industry relies on to get the low-priced foods that you've grown accustomed to. If we paid a fair wage to the nations of the world, it would relieve some of the poverty and suffering that we see, including forced labor and child labor. Lotus Foods went directly to the world's poorest farmers to help them get their organic certification and teach them how to produce more rice with less seed and less water. They helped to get more of the profits to end up in the farmer's pocket by selling direct to us and eliminating the established food supply chains. Fair trade sets up schools for children instead of making them part of the workforce and these efforts will soon eliminate poverty and illiteracy around the world. So we say yes to new supply chains. We say yes to rice. Because 70% of the world's poor rely on rice for their income. So when we buy rice direct from these farmers, we help to eliminate poverty around the world. But wait, what about survival? That should have been the first question. Is it stabilizing? Does the plan help us survive and thrive better? Does the plan provide our basic needs? Are we more self-sustaining in an emergency? Could we survive if there was an interruption in the food supply chain? How can today's family rise above survival mode to think about personal and global well-being? First, it helps to have a meal plan that saves you money, time, and energy. Food for Well-Being can show you how to reduce your food bill to almost nothing just by sharing this video. Food for Well-Being has a program that helps to reduce your food bill to almost nothing. When you find 4 people who catch the vision and want the monthly box of Food for Well-Being, it covers the cost of your own monthly box. Who do you know that would love this video and resonate with the message of personal and global well-being? Who do you know that might like to reduce their own monthly food bill? Who do you know that wants to change to a better diet, to lose weight or improve health or the health of a loved one? Next, it helps to have a supply of food on hand in case of emergencies such as unemployment, disability, or natural disaster. Food storage items must store well for long periods of time and fit into the smallest area possible. We designed Food for Well-Being for this purpose. We started with whole foods that store for long periods of time. We put them in a set, one of each. They store well, they stack well. If you keep them protected in a bin with a lid in a cool, dry place, they will store well for years. So yes, it is very stabilizing to have a food storage system that's also the foods you eat on a daily basis. And then you won't have to learn how to cook and suddenly change your diet in the middle of a crisis. And in a true apocalypse, if we all had to start over, these whole foods can be planted to produce more. Have you ever wondered what to do for someone that's already going through a crisis? How about offering them a year's supply of food? And if you live nearby, maybe even cooking it for them for a period of time. If you don't live nearby, then call us. We're in the process of training people to deliver home-cooked meals on a weekly basis. The average family spends about $550 a month on food. One dinner box of Food for Well-Being is a week of meals for a family of 4. For a single person, it might be enough for the month. Have a box shipped weekly or monthly, or purchase a 1-year supply all at once. Start eating whole foods for every meal. To eliminate as much shipping as possible, it's smarter to buy enough for the month, or even the year. When you order a box of Food for Well-Being, you can choose what goes into the box, or you can take the standard box that has one of each item. If you've never cooked with whole foods in your life, then baby steps would be to just use the seasoning packets and add them to canned beans. What could be simpler than that? If you already have a lot of whole foods in your food storage, then the seasoning packets would be perfect for you. to get those out of the basement and onto the table. Are you wondering why there are only 6 pairs of rice and beans, but we have 7 days in the week? Well, that's because when you buy mason jars, they always come in sets of 12. So we paired coconut curry with edamame, and we paired black beans with tortillas to create complete plant protein for all 7 days using just 12 mason jars. Fill your shelves with whole foods, fill your refrigerator with exciting meals, improve your diet overnight. Just heat, garnish, and serve. So we are excited to say we can answer yes to all 7 questions of well-being. Is it stabilizing? Yes. It saves time, saves money, saves energy. Is it healthy? Yes. It improves our health and the health of those we feed. Is it intelligent? Yes. It relieves stress around mealtime by having a rotating menu and by cooking our meals for the week. Is it empowering? Yes. It empowers us to say no to chemical sprays and GMOs and factory farms. Is it unifying? Yes. It gets families back around the table. Is it sustainable? Yes. It helps us to save the environment from systematic destruction. Is it humane? Yes. It helps us to avoid the established food supply chains that rely heavily on forced labor, child labor, and unfair trade. Learn to cook using our food packets, or let us cook for you. It doesn't matter which, the outcome is the same. Well-being in all 7 levels.